This is Horned Frog Engineering, and in this video I want to show you how to set up dependent sources on LT-Spice. So the first ones we're going to do are the current controlled current sources and the voltage controlled current source. So this problem right here is straight from the book called Engineering Circuit Analysis. It's the 10th edition, so that's the practice problem 4.3. And in this problem for the circuit in figure 4.8, which is this one, determine the nodal voltage V1 up here if A is 2I1 and letter B if A is equal to 2V1. So we have two different circuits pretty much. For part A, this is going to be 2I1. So this gonna have this diamond figure right here with the arrow pointing up is with a 2I1 next to it. For part A is a current controlled current source, or you can call it CCCS. So that's the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna show you guys how to analyze that circuit and set up the dependent source right there. So let's go to our LT-Spice. I already have it prepared. Oh, we're still in the wrong problem. I apologize. Let's see. Let's get to that right problem. This 4.3, practice 4.3. There we are. So, okay. I'm not sure why it does that. Okay. So practice 4.3. As you guys can see, I already have it all set up. All we need to add is the CCCS, current controlled current source, and we're doing part A when A is equal to 2I1. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to go to edit and go to component or press P on your keyboard, and a current control current source is going to be denoted by the letter I. So it's going to be actually not I. I'm sorry, I apologize. That's going to be letter F. So this is letter F right here. This is going to be your current controlled current source. And on this problem, the arrow is pointing up, so we're going to want to rotate it. Press control, hold control, press R until it orients in the right direction, or up, which is upwards in our case. And then press W to create a wire and connect it. So this is our current controlled current source. But notice this is supposed to be 2I1. This source right here is dependent on what's happening up here, which I need to set up my resistance real quick. I forgot to do that. So resistance 2, and then resistance is 2 down here. And okay. And then we're going to stretch this just a little bit because I need to make room for something. So this current right here is going downwards. This I1 is going downwards. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a voltage source of 0. When the positive, if the current is going downwards, so this current controlled current source is dependent on the current that's going through this resistor, and we want to set this up as a wire. So this V1 right here is pretty much just a wire because the voltage is 0, and we want the current going into the positive terminal of this voltage source. So pretend that this is just a wire because the voltage is 0, and we're going to set up this current controlled current source using this component right here, the current going through this component. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to edit this part right here, and you're going to put V1 because this part right here is dependent on the current going through this component. So you're going to want to put V1 and then space, and this is going to be your gain factor, which is 2. So this V1 is denoting that this current controlled current source is dependent on the current going through this component, which is V1, and then the gain factor up here given in the problem is 2. So now when you analyze it, we should be getting the right answer. CDC. I think the problem asks for what's V1. I need to create a node up here. Put a V1. And we need to find out what that answer is. And the answer over here is 70 over 9, which is the same thing. Let me get my calculator. 7.77 volts. So I'm going to press. My apologies. I put a 15 over here. This is supposed to be 5. That was so I was pausing and wondering why I didn't get the right answer. This V1 is supposed to be 7.77. This should give us the right answer. Yep, V1 is 7.77 volts. So this is how you set up a current controlled current source. Again, to recap, it's component F, and then this component F, you have to define the current going through here. You have to find that current using a voltage dependent source, which is set equal to 0, pretty much just a wire, to be able to figure out the current going through this resistor. Since the arrow is pointing downwards, then you want the arrow to go into the positive terminal of this component, and that should give you the right answer. And this is how you set that up. Now, what if we part B is we're gonna do it's still a current it's still a current dependent source, but it's gonna be voltage controlled current source, or VCCS. So now we're gonna delete this, and the way that we're gonna set this up is, again, you're gonna go to your component, which you can go to edit and press component, or I love shortcuts, so I just go to P, press P, and this is gonna be your G. And then again, you want to make sure that the arrow is pointing up according to match the problem. I feel like this is a little bit more straightforward. So you have your positive terminal. This is going to be dependent. So this is a VCCS, voltage controlled current source, and your part B, your A is going to be your 2V1. Your gain factor is still going to be 2. So on this part right here, you're going to put 2. That's your gain factor. But this is very important. Make sure that you put the right nodes on these two parts right here. So on this one is going to be your ground, because let's see, so this is going to be dependent on V1. So from here, this is your V1 to this node right here, that's your ground. So this voltage controlled current source is dependent on the voltage V1 and the reference node, which is the ground. So what we're going to do is put the ground right here. Sorry, I'm going too fast probably. You can go to edit, press ground, or place ground, or if you're like me, you like shortcuts, just press G and then put your ground in the negative. In this case, this part is going to be the ground. If it's a different problem, this part may not be the ground. It might be, they might want you to have the voltage, they might be dependent on the voltage from here to here, right? So you're going to put V2 in that case, but for this problem, it's only dependent on V1, not V1 minus V2. It's V1. It's just V1, so it's V1 minus the ground. And then for the top part, the positive, you're gonna click on net, and you're gonna click V1. And the reason why you want to do V1 is because this is the name of this node. If this node was some other name, let's see, let's put a name A. then you're gonna want to put A on this one to match it. But we're just gonna stick with V1. So the answer that they give us is negative 10 volts for V1. So let's see if we get the right answer. Hopefully I don't mess up like I did last time. So, and we have the correct answer, which is negative 10 volts. Negative 10 volts. So that's how you set up a current controlled current source and also a voltage controlled current source. And now we're gonna go into setting up a voltage controlled voltage source and current controlled voltage source. This is a tongue twister. So yeah, let's get into that. All right, now we're gonna get into how to set up a voltage controlled voltage source and a current controlled voltage source, or VCVS and a CCVS dependent sources. So I already set up the I think this is a VCCS. So we already because we already did that just now. So in the previously right before this. So I'm not gonna go over how to do this part. So this problem is from a worksheet that we did right before our final exams for Circuit 1. And this is one of the problems. Very nice problem. So in another video I go over how to solve this using MASH and Nodal, but that's not the purpose of this video right now. We're gonna go over how to set up this voltage controlled voltage source, which is right here, and this current controlled voltage source. So let's start off with the voltage controlled voltage source right here. So the way we're going to do that again is we're going to go to components, press P, and this one is going to be letter E. Letter E is going to be our component, and you're going to make sure it's the right polarity. If you need to rotate it, press Control R, but in this case this is already rotated in the right orientation. Positive on top, positive on top. And this voltage controlled voltage source is dependent on V3. And notice that V3 is positive on this side and negative on this side, and that's very important. So you're gonna put in this circuit I put 3 plus over here. That's what I named it, 3 plus and 3 minus. So your 3 plus is gonna be going over here. So you're gonna press net or press N. I love shortcuts, so just press N, and then you're gonna put 3 plus. That one's gonna be on top, and then we're just gonna put one on the bottom and edit it, and it's gonna put minus. Now right click it, right click the bottom one and put a minus. And then over here, you're going to put your gain factor. Our gain factor is going to be 0.2, so don't forget that part. 0.2 is going to be our gain factor. I feel like this is a little bit more straightforward than setting up the other one, which we're going to get into, is the current controlled current source. That one is a little bit more, I wouldn't say tricky, but maybe a little bit more involved. So let's see, that's gonna be, we're gonna go to components, and that's going to be letter H. Make sure it's the right orientation. In our case, the positive is on top, so this is a good start. And just like we did previously with the current controlled current source, the voltage or the current controlled voltage source is going to be dependent on the current that's going right to left. The current pretty much going through the 50 ohm resistor that's going right to left. What we need to do is already set this up. You're going to need to set up a wire, pretty much a voltage independent voltage source that has 0 volts, which is just a wire, with the positive terminal, with the current going into the positive terminal. So the current is going right to left, and you want that current to be going into the positive terminal. And we named this one, your default's going to be like something V1, V2, V3, or whatever, but this one is going to be, I renamed it as I1. So since I named it I1, this dependent source is dependent on the current going through this resistor, and which is the same current that's going to go through this component, which is just a wire because of the voltage being 0. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click on the value, and you're going to put I1, and the reason why we're putting I1 is because this is named I1. It's dependent on this part right here. Or in your case, it might be V something, like V4 or V5 or whatever, but like I named mine I1. And then your gain factor, so you're going to press space and then put your gain factor, and our gain factor in this case is 5. So I1 5. So now when we do a DC analysis or dot op and press play. I apologize. I got the problem is actually the problem asks for V1. So V1 is the voltage at 1 plus minus the voltage at 1 minus, which is negative 103.8. So it's negative 3.77 minus 100, so it's negative 103.8 pretty much. So we have the right answer. And this is how you set up a voltage controlled voltage source and a current controlled current source.